Hey everyone, across the multiverse here. In this video, we are going to discuss about how powerful is Corenswet Superman. Well, you might be thinking why I am making specially a video on that Superman, the 2025 one of Superman, which the movie is recently released. And I watched the basically movie and I really loved the movie for two reasons. First, the movie is actually good, and second, because I love Superman. While there were some things that I didn't like, but overall the movie was very good and 100% worth watching, especially and if you like Superman, then it's a must watch because obviously it's a Superman movie and it's actually good. So let's get back to our topic, which is how powerful is Corenswet Superman. Well, I am talking about this Superman because I believe it's pretty much obvious that every Superman continuity is different, so it's like a different Superman itself. Obviously, we do consider them a prime Superman and all of that stuff, but it's a different continuity. For example, some of the stuff like background or backstory or future story, something like that is always, not always, but most of the time, a bit type or different for each Superman. So right now we are going to discuss about Corenswet Superman, but in future I am planning to make one video on the Henry Cavill Superman also, which I do think is might probably the strongest live action Superman, but we don't know for sure for now because Corenswet Superman exists, but then I will discuss why he can or might become the strongest in future. Well, we will see, but I will give a hint why he might. First of all, let's talk about how strong he is. Actually, the thing is, since we have only seen him in first one time in the movies, so we obviously can't judge his entire strength. And this movie was not particularly focused on his how strong he was. It was focused on how his character is. So obviously, we can't guess how powerful is he entirely, but we can somehow take a guess. Okay, so we have seen him fighting a kaiju who was extremely big, buildings level big, and he was basically fighting it out, and despite him trying not to murder it, and as well as avoid basically killing it and avoid harming it in it also. Obviously he was trying to contain him and try to stop him, but he was making sure that he does not get brutally killed like the basically other heroes did, the Justice Gang did, and even he was just placed at that. So we saw that he was basically holding his own despite him basically protecting everyone around him, and even then he was basically holding his own and was going toe to toe with him. Like that moment where he was basically protecting the dog, and he easily basically kept him on, and while talking to the dog, he was basically doing multitask at one point, and despite having a literally big kaiju and holding him. So this shows how strong is he. Well, we have already seen how fast is he also, as we saw him basically protecting civilians, and that famous scene of the protecting electrical where they, I guess, recreated a comic panel, as well as we saw how he managed to protect a squirrel, something so small. So this shows not only his speed, he is also his precision on how he can move fast and still basically protect something as small as a squirrel. So we have seen is how fast he is, we have seen how strong he is. He even somehow managed to control and keep himself away from the black hole, which is just extremely big of a feat in itself, because obviously he was not going to 100% contain, and he would have been eaten by the black hole at one point, but he still somehow managed to hold himself, and this shows that how strong is he. And obviously he was saved by someone else, but this still it's not something small of a feat. While there are other stuff where he basically I think one of the best things I saw power from one thing that I always do not like about the Superman's TV shows, animation, comics, or even live action is that the lack of use he basically does of his heat vision, which in this particular movie, there is a famous scene where he not casually, but Lex Luthor's army, basically fights Lex Luthor's army and basically one shot all of them with his laser eye by swinging around. This was probably what I would expect and what I would want Superman to do, because obviously you have something you can basically do to knock down, and he does that, and that this shows that he not only is strong, he also is one of those Superman who are basically fighting like a Superman should. Even though I do think he basically holds back way more than others, because we saw how he was basically not really pushing himself. Even when he was fighting Ultraman, who was his own clone, he was basically struggling. But obviously we all know he was struggling because Superman is a good guy and always hold back even in front of enemies. I do think if he was going out, he would have basically destroyed that guy easily without any problem. But obviously he was holding back and still, but he was still somehow going toe to toe with him, and to the point he managed to basically break his, I not break, but I guess dislocate his arm and throw him to the black hole. And this shows that even while holding back, he was still somehow equal to him, managed to hold him back and somehow fight it. I guess I have kind of show how strong he was, and obviously but right now, just remember one thing, that that's not the entire power of Superman. That's him just like in his first movie, and I am pretty much sure we might get some movie where basically he's fighting someone purely of the, like, we might get a movie that's purely focused on the fighting itself, because right now the first movie I believe is entirely focusing on his origin story and all of that stuff, and focusing on his house, on his character and how good of a person he is, how his humanity and all of that stuff. But I am sure we will get another movie and like the one we saw with Henry, but obviously I don't think so it will ever get this dark, because the whole purpose of this this Superman movie and whole retcon is basically that they want to focus is on how nice and human of a character is Superman, which I love, because that's what I love about Superman. He is the hope of universe. So I hope you liked the video, and if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe my channel and comment on it and decide me one video. Another thing before I go is basically we can't obviously give him a tier of anything because we have not really seen anything. I don't think so we should be giving a tier to him because it does not really matter. I think I do think he's a bit late, a building level right now, and I am sure we will get there somehow. But right now I think we should not be comparing it to other Superman like Henry Cavill Superman or Christopher Reeve Superman, because that is the start. But in future, if we get some better feats, we might do a 1v1 between each of them. But I do think right now, as far as speeds are compared, I do think Henry Cavill Superman is way stronger right now. But obviously, because we have not even seen his like 10% of his power, like 100%. Obviously, I do think we have seen only barely, because he does not really fight. So in future, we will most probably get another like a power up for him, and then we might be able to compare them, and they might go to auto, but that probably will happen in future. So then by then I will keep on making videos, but then we might get another movie probably like 2000 2 3 4 years later. We might be like, I might create another video comparing them, because right now I don't really think comparing is right the better choice, because we can't really compare, because one have multiple movies purely focused on fighting, while the other one is more focused on only have one movie more focused on his character. So yeah, that's it. I'm sorry I basically gave the outro but started continuing, but I'm giving the outro right now. So yeah, let's meet another video, and make sure to comment the topic of a video you want me to make on, and I will surely make sure to create a video. So bye bye.